All right, fellas. So, welcome back to another live stream that we got for you for today. Now, in this stream, we're going to discuss about our concerns with the Activision Blizzard deal with Microsoft, and also we will play at least a game or two of Call of Duty Vanguard. But yeah, the FTC has officially lost the appeal, and it has been denied. And Microsoft was going to be able to fully be able to purchase and close the deal completely sometime right now between today and basically Saturday. So any time between this Saturday to today, which is now Tuesday the 18th of July, Microsoft was going to be able to purchase Activision at any time. Well, luckily enough, the CMA, basically from the UK, basically did not fully block it. Like they did block it. It's still blocked from the start from when they did. But now from what I read, it's just a delay of some sort to try to see if them and Microsoft can actually come to an agreement. But Sony has officially they have officially signed the deal with Microsoft. So don't worry, Call of Duty on PlayStation is going to be around for a very, very long time, so you don't have to worry about anything related with that. But have been some rumors and posts about the future of other Activision Blizzard titles, and two of them are a concern for me, and those two are basically Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon. Now, I have personally loved those games, especially Spyro the Dragon. Spyro the Dragon is an insanely really good game. I personally love Spyro, and that has been my childhood game, and I am literally 26 right now, and I still personally love Spyro the Dragon. And honestly, if they honestly make that an Xbox exclusive and it doesn't come to let's say PlayStation as well as Nintendo or whatever, then yeah, something is going to be really not all that great going on at Microsoft, and I would honestly be very, very upset. Now keep this in mind. This is actually coming from somebody who has every platform right now. I literally play on PlayStation, I play on Xbox, I do have a Nintendo Switch, and I barely play it, but with the new Super Mario Brothers 2D Wonder game coming out in just a few months, that is actually going to make me want to go back and play on my Nintendo Switch. But here's another thing, I like to enjoy games on all platforms, whether if I buy them on all, because Spyro, if you really think about it, Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot are games that originally started on the PlayStation. If you remember, back in the day, in 1996 and 1998, Spyro and Crash Bandicoot were on the PlayStation 1, and that's what they were basically exclusive to. But honestly, I know it might sound a little odd, but I really personally don't want to see those games only on one console, especially now since they have become multi-platform hits and they are now officially on Nintendo consoles. It would just be so stupid for Microsoft to take games that are on a billion other platforms like PlayStation, Nintendo, and even to an extent mobile. I mean, it just would be so stupid for Microsoft to do that. And since Microsoft owns those games, when they finally fully be able to purchase Activision Blizzard, that's more money they could be made. This is the smarter choice, though, I honestly think Microsoft should do. Honestly, what I think is Microsoft should put all of those games on Game Pass, and Sony can honestly cry and cry and cry all they freaking want, about games going on Game Pass because they want to actually sell you games and not actually make a subscription to help consumers save money to be able to play their games, especially like if they're just going to play and beat the game like once or twice instead of forcing them to pay $60 to play a game for like 12 hours or whatever the case is. But what I honestly think is if Microsoft actually puts these games on Game Pass and they actually also they let the game stay on other platforms, then everything would be honestly good. Like, straight up, like, everything would fully be great. I mean, I need to turn this down a little bit because it's still a little bit loud. There, I'm gonna try that. There, now it's a lot better. I just want to be able to make sure you guys can hear the game, so that way, also, on top of us talking, so it's not just a completely, like, quiet, you know, like, stream or whatever. But yeah, I think Microsoft, honestly, they should just put the games on Game Pass. Don't give a crap of what Sony says, because if Sony doesn't like it, well, Sony can actually man up and actually make their own first-party type of games like those and put them on their PlayStation service. But are they going to do that? Most likely not, because Sony wants to pretty much wants you to buy their games. They don't care that you are not a part of their ecosystem because they just want to force you to buy their games. So, and to an extent, I personally prefer to buy my games just because I have the access to play them at any time I want, and I never like to get rid of my games. But at the same time, I mean, if Microsoft does that, they put the games on Game Pass while still letting these games go to other platforms like PlayStation and Nintendo, it would be so friendly consumer to all of them, and Microsoft has shown that that's what they are. They don't like to personally force people on other platforms. But when it comes to this would be the smartest thing for Microsoft to do, because the games will still be on those other platforms for those consumers that personally love them. But with the games being on Game Pass, I screwed up there for a second, but with the games being on Game Pass, if you get what I'm saying, that's still going to help sell Xboxes while at the same time keeping those games to those other consumers. And really, when you think about it in the long run, it's just the smartest thing to do. Like, they keep the games on other platforms for those people that buy them. When those sell on those platforms, Microsoft gets a cut of that pie. But then also, if they put them on Game Pass for the low monthly subscription service, some of those people are going to be like, well, dang, I could literally just pay $10 or $11 for Game Pass, and I don't have to, you basically, like, buy the game out. I get it and just get to play it for that much a month. And then that's just going to draw people to buy an Xbox. So, personally, I think that, like, that's the smartest thing Microsoft can actually do. And they might. I mean, who knows? But at the same time, if they literally do take Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon and maybe some other games like Tony Hawk and whatever away from other platforms. Now, granted, I don't really personally care for Tony Hawk, but I know that there's probably some hardcore gamers out there that love that franchise that would probably be mad if that game was taken away from PlayStation and Nintendo consoles. But they could honestly do maybe a new IP or maybe just some other different IP or whatever that's not basically a huge hit, and they could just put it on Xbox and it will still entertain people to get an Xbox, especially if it's on Game Pass. But finally, since we know that Call of Duty is not going to be fully going to exclusivity on Xbox, which I think that's what they might have been doing the whole time when they said, oh, we'll extend to 3 years, and then they got forced to basically extend to 10 years right now. So right now, as it clearly stands, Call of Duty will be on PlayStation for the next 10 years all the way up to 2033. So you won't have to worry about Call of Duty going away from PlayStation, especially anytime soon. But with that being said, if Microsoft does that, they just put these games on Game Pass and then still giving them to the other audience on the other platforms, that's going to just make them billions of bucks when you think about it, because every time the game sells, they get a cut of that. And then some of those people are going to see, well, they could just buy a monthly of Game Pass as long as they have an Xbox, and it's just going to make them buy an Xbox. So really, if Microsoft does that, Microsoft's just going to win. Literally, their profits are going to go sky high through the roof when it comes to selling and playing Activision Blizzard titles. So, but yeah, Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, like, I honestly I would definitely be upset if they definitely take those games away from the other consoles. Because, I mean, Spyro and them, like I stated, they originally started on PlayStation back in 1996 and 1998. And there's definitely a lot of people that absolutely love those games, and especially on PlayStation platforms, since that's where those games technically started from. I mean, really, when you really think about it, like, yeah, like, those games originally started on PlayStation, and they sold so well. So, yeah, I think Microsoft needs to at least keep the big games, like Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, Tony Hawk, and freaking we technically already know that Call of Duty is going to stay on top of Call of Duty. Just keep those games on all the other platforms. But if you really want to sell Xboxes really good, well, guess what? Put those games on Game Pass, and boom. Every time they sell on other platforms, you get a cut of the pie, and you basically will get people to buy an Xbox because of Game Pass. So it's just a smart thing. But I know that there's millions of others that are absolutely concerned about the same thing with other titles. Because, I mean, honestly, like, Microsoft just, like, if they literally just, like, take games away that are made for multi-platforms, people are just going to hate Microsoft at all. And I truthfully would too. And I honestly think that Microsoft has a better business than what Sony does when it comes to basically being consumer friendly. But when it comes to, like, taking games away like that on multi-platforms that are basically made for multi-platforms, that's definitely going to throw off a lot of basically fans. And honestly, like, I just prefer them to keep the games on the other platforms, because, I mean, you just can't, like, take freaking games that are basically made for multi-platforms away like that. I mean, I know that people are going to say, well, yeah, Sony has done that in the past, da-da-da-da-da, but honestly, like, Sony could have said this when they bought Bungie. They could have literally not made Destiny 2 DLC for the Xbox and PC consoles. Like, the last DLC before they bought Bungie, they could have said, yep, that's only the DLC for Xbox. If you wanted to play future DLCs, you got to buy PlayStation to play Destiny 2. But Sony didn't really do that after they own Bungie now. So, really, Sony didn't necessarily take, like, stuff away from the other, platforms like that they could have done. So, it would be really, really stupid if Microsoft does that in the first place when it comes to, like, at least games like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games and Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, and then whatever other big titles, which I can't think of off the top of my head. But yeah, I honestly think that that's what Microsoft is, that's the best smart move for what Microsoft can honestly do. Keep those games on other platforms, maybe make a new IP and call it exclusive just to see how good it does, and it will still help people buy an Xbox because it'll be a new game that might interest a decent chunk of people. But in the long run, keeping games like, I don't know why I about said Call of Duty there for a second, but yeah, like, keep games like Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, and Tony Hawk's skateboarding game on PlayStation and Nintendo platforms, but then also put those games on Game Pass, and Microsoft would just make Microsoft hundreds of billions of dollars, because then every time they sell on those platforms that's not theirs, they get a cut of that pie. And then some of those consumers are going to see that because they're on Game Pass and they only can pay a small monthly subscription fee, that will also make people want to go buy an Xbox, because then they're like, well, dang, I could just play all these new Spyro the Dragon games, Call of Duty games in the future. I know I have to pay as, $11 a month, $10.99 that the new price point is for Game Pass, or $16.99 for basically Ultimate. They just see, well, dang, I could just pay a monthly small fee, and then guess what? I have access to play all those games. Yep, I'll buy an Xbox, and boom, there you go. People are going to buy an Xbox. So that's honestly what I think they do. But yeah, I am a little bit concerning of Microsoft possibly taking other games away from those platforms, such as Spyro the Dragon, and such as Crash Bandicoot, and even such as Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games. And there's definitely going to be a lot of people that are going to hate Microsoft, and Microsoft is definitely going to get a lot of backlash for it from a lot of consumers, and I truthfully hope they do. I mean, I personally love the Xbox. I love PlayStation. They both are great consoles. I think they have their ups and downs, but when it comes to like taking games that are made for multi-platforms away like this, I think it's just insanely wrong to be doing anyway. And honestly, like, they shouldn't be allowed to do that, even if a company allows them to buy them. So I think that, like I stated, Microsoft should just do that, because when you think of it, it's just, they're just going to make more and more billions of dollars during the long run. And because Call of Duty is going to stay on PlayStation, well, those people that don't want to buy an Xbox, you're basically saved at this point. Yeah, I had something in my throat there for a second. But yeah, you basically have Call of Duty now going to be staying on PlayStation for the next at least 10 years. But honestly, I think Call of Duty is probably going to stay on PlayStation for basically the foreseeable future, even cleanly past 10 years. And who even knows at this point if even Call of Duty is even going to be a thing by that time, by like 2020, or I don't know why I said 2023, but who even knows if Call of Duty is even still going to be a thing by 2033, whenever this 10-year contract even ends. But all I can say is like, honestly, like, people are just going to hate Microsoft a lot more if they do take games like Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games. That, like, these are the only 3 games I can think of that were decently popular on all platforms that were multi-plats besides Call of Duty. There's definitely some other games too, but I just can't think of them off the tip of my tongue. But if they take away those games, yeah, people are going to hate Microsoft a lot, because, I mean, Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon are literally on PlayStation and as well as Nintendo. I mean, they definitely would keep these games on PC, but they're on PlayStation and Nintendo, and because they're on all 4 platforms, I mean, why would you want to take those games away when you know that there's a decent chunk of audience on all of those platforms, and every time they sell, you will be making money? So why in the world would Microsoft want to do that? That's my concern. But yeah, like, I personally love those games, and it would just be so stupid if Microsoft does do that. And a lot of people would absolutely hate Microsoft for good. And there will still be some people that won't hate them, but I personally would be one of them that does, just mainly because, like I stated, I love to play games on all different platforms of the same game, because Xbox has Xbox achievements, and then the PlayStation has trophies, and Nintendo has not, like, done anything to earn yet. There was a rumor that the next gen Nintendo Switch, Nintendo was going to have something like that, like whatever that you can earn. And honestly, I think Nintendo does need to implement something like that will keep people enticed to play the Nintendo Switch, because if they actually add like tokens or whatever, like, like you get one token for this low whatever thing you do, or if you beat the game you get 3 tokens, and then it keeps track of like your tokens of all the games you play. Nintendo could do something like that. And honestly, if Nintendo did have something like that, I would be playing my Switch a lot more, if you really think about it, because then I could be earning stuff while playing my Nintendo Switch. And that's one of the big key reasons as to why I only play on Xbox, PlayStation, and then to an extent off and on PC, because I get to earn stuff, and it feels great to earn stuff when you play the games and all that. So yeah, but there was a rumor that the next gen Nintendo Switch, that Nintendo might implement something like that. But if they don't, I still play the Switch every now and again, and being able to play like Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot and Tony Hawk like on the go on the handheld system is like a remarkable dream come true. So yeah, honestly, like that's just what I think that Microsoft should do, is literally, if they keep the games on all the platforms, every time they sell, they will get a good chunk of the revenue, and then some of those people will see that if they buy an Xbox, those games are on Game Pass, and all they have to do is pay a small monthly subscription fee, whether if it's just Game Pass itself for $10.99, or the ultimate to where you can play online and get those games for $16.99. It would just really... Microsoft would be king. Microsoft would be the dominant king if they do that, because then they're being friendly, they're letting those people stay on those platforms to play what they want, but then also giving them the option to switch over to their platform so they can get a small percentage or a small, fee that they have to pay, and they get access to all those games. So I personally do think that that would be the most number one king smartest thing Microsoft can honestly do. But yeah, I'm definitely concerned about the future of Activision Blizzard titles. If they keep games like those games, at least Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, on top of Call of Duty that's already on there, I would be alright. I wouldn't mind if all the other games beside those 3 franchises only go to Xbox exclusive. But if they keep Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot already on top of Call of Duty going to be staying on the other platforms, I would personally be alright. Because, Call of Duty and Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon are like my top 3 favorite Activision Blizzard games. So if they keep those games on all the platforms, then I would be honestly happy. But if they take away Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, I won't be like super disappointed, but I would definitely be really mad and really upset with Microsoft, because of the fact that, they took those games away from the other platforms that they were made for, and I basically only have one platform to play them on. I know it doesn't sound like a big deal because I got the console to play them on, but like we mentioned, I love to play these games on multiple platforms because I love to get the achievements from the Xbox console, and I love to get the trophies from the PlayStation console, and it's really fun. Like, once I beat it, I get enticed to play it again on the other platform, so if I want to revisit it, I'm actually getting the trophies now, like I did with the achievements. So if you get where I'm saying, like, the trophies are making me want to replay it after already earning the achievements on Xbox. So if I want to play it again, I'm like, oh, okay, if I play it on here, I get to earn the trophies. It's just like that. So yeah, and I know a lot of people is going to be very, very concerning with that Activision Blizzard deal with Microsoft and everything. But yeah, like, I hope, and honestly, godly hope, that Microsoft does not take those games away from the other platforms. I honestly hope that Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot honestly stays on multi-platform, just like Call of Duty. Because honestly, like, people just would be really mad. People would be. Especially because people love PlayStation. PlayStation is a really big console. It sells more than Xboxes, but when you think about it, there's probably a more large player base on the PlayStation console that you could literally get those games to sell. So, I mean, when you think about it, Microsoft would be really stupid to, like, take away all of those games, especially for other consoles, when they could be making huge revenue on them. Like, it would just be the most stupidest thing ever. But there is rumors that that's what Microsoft might be doing, but nothing as of yet has actually been official at this point. So, honestly, I wouldn't get your hopes up just yet because nothing has 100% been official. And there has been points out that Microsoft is a lot more friendlier company when it comes to things like that than compared to like Sony and freaking even Nintendo especially. So I just won't get your hopes up at this point. I would just wait and see what the future holds up. But I know it's definitely pretty scary and pretty nervous to worry about. But yeah, just don't get your guys' hopes up. I would just honestly like wait and see how this Activision Blizzard deal goes through. But there still is a good chance it may not go through just because of the CMA holding off and delaying the deal to be able to process. But yeah, that pretty much is going to round up the video or the live stream for the day. But yeah, I just figured I'd make this a quick video and play a little bit of Vanguard or whatever to showcase you guys of the concern about other big franchises of Microsoft making them only exclusive, possibly in the near future. But yeah, honestly, people would just hate Microsoft if they absolutely make a lot of those third-party games that are multi-platforms only exclusive. But as of for right now, like I stated, when it comes to Call of Duty that we're playing on the screen, you don't have to worry about that going away anytime soon in the future. And then if anything, the Nintendo is going to get Call of Duty here at some point. So even then, Call of Duty is going to be able to play on the next-gen Nintendo Switch, and that's going to be a huge, huge seller for Microsoft and as well as Activision Blizzard. So yeah. But yeah, that pretty much is going to round up for the stream today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys could hit that like button if you enjoy this stream. And also be sure to subscribe if you are brand new to this YouTube channel. And we will keep you posted with more streams and YouTube videos about tech and gaming related in the future. And also be sure to leave us your thoughts down in the comment section down below of your thoughts with Microsoft if they were to make Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, and a couple other third-party multi-platform games exclusive, or if you think that Microsoft would honestly or if you agree that what we mentioned is the smartest way for Microsoft to do is keeping the games on all those platforms and then put them on Game Pass to entice people to come buy an Xbox to pay a monthly subscription, small fee. So yeah, just leave us your thoughts down in the comment section down below of your thoughts of those games, if Microsoft might be making them exclusive or they might keep them for all the other platforms. So yeah, we will catch you guys on the next video. So, peace out.